Please stand for the national anthem. उत्कल बंगा वृंद हिमाचल यमुना गंगा जलधि तरंगा नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे आगे तब जय गाथा मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे. Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Arif Mohammed ji, Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Harivansh ji, President of the IC Center for Governance, Mr. Prabhat Kumar, Secretary General of the IC Center, Mr. Shanti Narayan, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I have great pleasure in welcoming you all this evening to the third Sardar Patel Memorial Lecture. The first lecture was held in an auditorium named after Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. We are very fortunate and lucky indeed to have Arif Mohammed Khaji today on the birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel today. It is a great honor for us and for him to speak about the man who is referred as the Iron Man of the country. Before I request Shri Prabhat Kumar for his welcome address, may I request you all to kindly switch off your mobile phones or put them on the silent mode. Thank you.
Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Arif Mohammed Khan Sahab, Honorable Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, Shri Harivansh ji, Shri Shanti Narayan ji, Shri Mahesh Kapoor ji. I see so many friends here. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my most pleasant duty to welcome all of you to this IC Center's Sardar Patel Lecture of 2022. And this is being held in collaboration with the India International Center. As we know, there is a common perception that governance in many parts of the world is not what it should be. Most of us are concerned about the quality of governance, and some are actively thinking about it. In fact, not a day passes without there being a conclave or a conference or a seminar on some aspect of public governance. I have spent almost 4 decades in the system, and I think that governance is a very complex subject. There are so many views about it. Political thinkers, commentators, they have given their own views. But according to the classical understanding of public governance, there are 3 essential components of governance. The constitutional legitimacy of the government is one. The organization of the political system is, and the third is the organization of the administrative system. Now, within the matrix of these three components, there are competitive political narratives which are ruling various parts of the world for quite some time. And in a country like us, a large country like India, governance has multiple pursuits, multiple priorities. And the curious thing is that some of these priorities are mutually contradictory. Choices have to be made, but not all the choices are without costs. And therefore, we find that there is no settlement, there is no settled view about the type of governance that provides an arrangement which is least elitist and most rooted in responsive socialism, responsive public welfare. So, in order to reinforce the public discourse on public governance, the IC Center, which has been there for the last 2 decades, and struggling with efforts to find possible solutions to public policy issues, the IC Center decided to have a lecture on governance, an annual lecture on governance. And it chose the name Sardar Patel Lecture for obvious reasons. I need not explain the reasons why we chose the name Sardar Patel Lecture. Because, if there was one leader in this country who envisioned the governance in independent India, it was the veritable Sardar. If there was one leader who gave a shape to the nation state, it was Sardar. And if there was one leader who defined the unity and integrity of the nation, it was Sardar. So we are remembering Sardar, honoring his memory. It is very befitting that we are doing it on his birth anniversary. And to deliver this third Sardar Patel lecture, we have with us Sri Arif Mohammad Khan, a staunch nationalist and a confirmed secular, who is well versed in religious and historical texts. He is sometimes criticized and often loved, but he is hard to ignore. Sri Khan was that way when he entered the political arena as a student leader. An erudite scholar of law and philosophy, a statesman of high repute, and a distinguished political leader, he was the president of Aligarh Muslim University Students' Union in the 70s, and later the cabinet minister for energy and civil aviation in Rajiv Gandhi cabinet. Interestingly, he wrote his resignation letter as cabinet minister, sitting in parliament, when the prime minister chose political security over social change. And he did not care about the risk of destabilizing his own political career. And that was when he was only 35. And presently, he occupies the constitutional position of a governor of the state. He is a gifted writer and a brilliant orator. A compilation of his articles on the message and spirit of Quran has appeared as Text and Context. Sir, it's a brilliant book. Those who have followed his statements concerning governance would have seen his recent statement that he would not sign a bill passed by the State Assembly if it goes against the spirit of the Constitution and decisions of the Supreme Court. Also, he recently said, "I condemn any ideology of those who think violence can be used. There is no room for violence in India." We are grateful to you, sir, for agreeing to deliver the lecture today. We are also happy to have Sri Harivanshji, the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, with us today to preside over the event. To those in the media industry, Harivanshji is an exemplar par excellence. He has seen governance at the state and federal levels with a very sharp eye. Harivanshji has worked in several different media publications through his career, starting with the Times of India. In 1974, when Jayaprakash Narayan was spearheading the call for total revolution against then government, Harivanshji also joined him. Later, he served as a media advisor to the former Prime Minister Chandrasekhar. He joined the obscure and nearly dead Hindi daily newspaper Prabhat Khabar in 1989 and scaled it to become one of the top newspapers in the country. The newspaper was known for investigating high-profile stories, including the Fodder scam. Under his leadership, Prabhat Khabar became a movement for probity in governance with the banner headline, "Akhbar Nahi, Andolan." In August 2018, he was elected the Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha and then re-elected in September 2020 after he returned to Rajya Sabha for his second term. Now, with these few words, I welcome you again to the third Sardar Patel lecture to be delivered by Sri Arif Muhammad Khan. And now I request Harivanshji to make his presidential comments. Harivanshji. Thank you.
केरल के महामहिम राज्यपाल श्री आरिफ मोहम्मद खां साहब, पूर्व राज्यपाल प्रभात कुमार जी, श्री शांति नारायण जी, महेश कपूर जी, यहाँ उपस्थित सभी सम्मानित सज्जनों, यहाँ आमंत्रित करने के लिए आईसी सेंटर फॉर गवर्नेंस के प्रेसिडेंट माननीय प्रभात कुमार जी का विशेष आभार। मेरा व्यक्तिगत अनुभव है कि यह सेंटर गवर्नेंस के मुद्दों पर देश के उन चुनिंदा संस्थाओं में से एक है जो श्रेष्ठ काम कर रहे हैं। साथ ही सार्वजनिक संस्थानों की क्षमता निर्माण में भी इस संस्था का उल्लेखनीय योगदान है। माननीय प्रभात कुमार जी में यह पैशन की तरह है और मुझे झारखंड में उन्हें गवर्नर के रूप में काम करते हुए विश्वविद्यालयों में जो उन्होंने श्रेष्ठ काम करके दिखाया और कई चीज़ें वो मेरी स्मृति में हैं। मुझे स्वयं याद है कि 10-12 वर्षों पहले इसी आईसी सेंटर में आर.एम. लाला की बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण पुस्तक का विमोचन इन सर्च ऑफ एथिकल लीडरशिप हुआ। हाल में प्रभात कुमार जी की पुस्तक बहुत बढ़िया पब्लिक सर्विस एथिक्स ए क्वेस्ट फॉर नैतिक भारत पुस्तक आई। मैंने कुछ ही दिनों पहले मुकुंद कौशल जी की रिमार्केबल बुक सेलिंग ऑन माई ओन कंपास ए पुलिसमैन्स डायरी पढ़ी। यानी यह संस्था और इस संस्था से जुड़े सभी लोग जिनका बड़ा इस देश के प्रशासन में, गवर्नेंस में बड़ा अनुभव रहा है, वो संस्था के तौर पर भी और व्यक्तिगत तौर पर भी बड़ा योगदान कर रहे हैं। आज की सबसे बड़ी समस्या है इथिकल और मॉरल सोसाइटी कैसे बहुत ताकतवर हो। और मैं बहुत गांव से हूं, इसलिए मैं एक पैरामीटर की दृष्टि से देखता हूं कि जयप्रकाश जी के गांव में मेरा जन्म हुआ संयोग से। मैं इस बारे में, वो गांव देश के सबसे पिछड़े गांव जो गांधी की कल्पना थी उनमें से एक कह सकते हैं आप, गंगा और घाघरा के बीच में, जहां आज़ादी के 40 वर्षों बाद तक कोई साधन विकास का नहीं था, आने जाने का रास्ता भी नहीं। तब समाज, अपर समाज, गलत ढंग से समाज में हैसियत बनाने वाले, संपत्ति बनाने वाले और प्रशासन में या राजनीति में गलत काम करने वालों के प्रति एक रिजर्वेशन रखता था। आज समाज के मापदंड बदले हैं। मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि मुझे प्रभात कुमार जी के साथ कई जगहों पर जाने का शुरू में मौका मिला जब मैं अखबार में था, और जिस रूप से मॉरली समाज को, युवकों को इन चीज़ों के प्रति जागरूक करने का अभियान सेंटर चला रहा है, वो बहुत उल्लेखनीय है। Under the sage leadership of Sri Prabhat Kumar ji and his distinguished team, this center has been dedicatedly and passionately encouraging collective thinking and ideating on public governance, public policy issues, ethics in governance, amongst many other issues related to good governance and administration. It's a matter of pride that the training programs imparted by Center on Ethics in Public Governance are gaining international repute for its quality and impact. मैं आईसी सेंटर ऑफ गवर्नेंस का विजन स्टेटमेंट देख रहा था, तब मुझे रियलाइज हुआ कि इस व्याख्यान माला को लौह पुरुष सरदार पटेल को क्यों समर्पित किया गया। सरदार साहब ने 47 में एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विसेज के ऑफिसर्स को संबोधित करते हुए कहा था, टू मेंटेन टू अटमोस्ट इम्पार्शियलिटी एंड इनकरप्टेबिलिटी ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। इस तरह गुड गवर्नेंस का गोल्डन रूल जो सरदार साहब ने शुरुआती दिनों में तय किया, समय के साथ उस पर धूल की परतें चढ़ी। उन्हें आज निखारने की जरूरत है। सरदार साहब, उनके बारे में अगर एक कोट में राजेंद्र बाबू का है याद दिलाऊं तो उनके पूरे व्यक्तित्व की झलक मिलती है। राजेंद्र बाबू ने उनके बारे में कहा, दैट देयर इज ए टुडे एन इंडिया टू थिंक एंड टॉक अबाउट इज वेरी लार्जली ड्यू टू सरदार पटेल्स स्टेटमेंटशिप एंड फर्म एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। 1946 में वाइसरॉय वेवेल ने सरदार साहब से मिलने के बाद पहली बार अपनी जो डायरी में दर्ज किया उनके बारे में इंप्रेशन, इट्स रियली, उसको जानना किस तरह से उनका व्यक्तित्व की झलक देता है। आई कोट, नॉट एन अट्रैक्टिव पर्सनालिटी एंड अनकम्प्रोमाइजिंग बट मोर ऑफ ए मैन देन मोस्ट ऑफ द इंडियन पॉलिटिशियंस आई हैव मेट। थर्ड, मुझे आज यहां खड़ा हूं तो जयप्रकाश जी याद आते हैं, जो उनके कार्यकाल में उनके सबसे बीटर क्रिटिक रहे। 74 में उन्होंने एक लंबा लेख सरदार साहब पर लिखा भौंस जर्नल में, रिग्रेट करते हुए कि हमारा उन दिनों देखने का परसेप्शन किस रूप में सही नहीं था। सरदार साहब नहीं होते तो ये देश एक स्वरूप में नहीं होता। यह लेक्चर श्रृंखला इस दिशा में एक बड़ा प्रभावी प्रयास है। आपने इस व्याख्यान के लिए बहुत सही चयन महामहिम आरिफ साहब खां का किया है। वह श्रेष्ठ स्कॉलर हैं, कन्विक्शन की राजनीति के नाम हैं, मॉरल पॉलिटिक्स के प्रतीक हैं। खां साहब एक छात्र नेता के रूप में बड़े प्रभावी रहे, बड़े तेज तर्रार, इफिशिएंट पार्लियामेंट्रियन और छाप छोड़ने वाले मंत्री के रूप में आज भी वो याद किए जाते हैं। और राज्यपाल के रूप में भी पब्लिक गवर्नेंस में उनके योगदान को हम देख रहे हैं। लगातार वो चर्चा में रहते हैं अपने नए आइडियाज और इनोवेशन के लिए। निश्चित तौर पर वह आज जिनके बारे में हम लोग धारणा रखते हैं कि है जिस ओन माइंड, ओन थिंकिंग, तो वो इस विषय पर नए ढंग से अपनी बात रखेंगे। हम सब उत्सुकता से उनको सुनेंगे। आज सरदार साहब का जन्मदिन भी है। उन्हें सही रूप में फादर ऑफ मॉडर्न ऑल इंडिया सर्विसेज भी कहा जाता है। गवर्नेंस की क्या चुनौतियां हैं, बहुत अच्छी तरह से अपने अनुभव के आधार पर माननीय प्रभात कुमार जी ने बताया। आज़ादी के 75 वर्ष हो चुके हैं, आज़ादी का अमृतकाल। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में केंद्र सरकार भी मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट और मैक्सिमम गवर्नेंस के ध्येय पर चल रही है। इस दिशा में अनेक नए प्रयोग और टेक्नोलॉजी का बड़ा इफेक्टिव इस्तेमाल हो रहा है। एक आगे बढ़ते देश के सामने हमेशा संसाधन और बजटीय प्राथमिकताओं के बीच प्रबंधन की चुनौती है। भारत में भी देश निर्माण, इसकी उन्नति और पब्लिक वेलफेयर की अपनी प्रतिबद्धताओं को पूरा करने में हमने सीमित संसाधन की चुनौती का सामना किया है। ऐसे में गवर्नेंस सिस्टम का महत्व और बढ़ता है कि उपलब्ध संसाधनों का रैशनल यूज कैसे हो। लोगों की अपेक्षाओं को पूरा करने के लिए गुड गवर्नेंस प्रैक्टिस की पहचान, उसकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी, जवाबदेही सुनिश्चित करना और सार्वजनिक संस्थाओं को मजबूत करना ही एकमात्र विकल्प है। मेरी निजी दृष्टि में शायद ये सीमित हो, पर मैं मानता हूं कि गवर्नेंस केवल प्रशासन के सीमित में ही संदर्भ नहीं है। इसमें सरकार, प्रशासन के अलावा विधायिका, जुडिशियरी का उतना ही महत्व है। समय पर कानून बने और लोगों को त्वरित न्याय मिले, यह भी जरूरी है। जहां जरूरत हो वहां कानून बने, पर पुराने कानूनों को हटाना भी जरूरी है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे पुराने कानून जो ढेर सारे नियम और विनियम बन गए हैं, जिसके तले समाज दब गया है, रेड टेपिज्म कहते हैं। यह अच्छी बात है कि संसद ने लगभग 1500 ऑब्सलीट हो चुके कानूनों को निरस्त किया है। दुनिया के दूसरे देशों में जो कानून बनते हैं उनके साथ समय भी तय होता है कि कभी इसका पुनर्निरीक्षण होगा या कब इसे हम खत्म कर दें, सनसेट क्लॉज लगे होते हैं। हमारे यहाँ इन्हें देखने की जरूरत है। सिविल सेवकों की क्षमता की कैसे वृद्धि हो। हमारे यहाँ भी प्रशासन की संरचना को समय की मांग एवं चुनौतियों के अनुरूप आधुनिक बनाने की जरूरत है। प्रशासनिक हायरार्की, पदनाम और यहाँ तक कि हमारी सिविल सेवाओं की केंद्रीय भूमिका की भी पुनरीक्षण करने की जरूरत है। 2016 में नीति आयोग के एक व्याख्यान में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा था कि हम सब 19वीं सदी के प्रशासन के साथ 21वीं सदी में प्रवेश नहीं कर सकते। केंद्र सरकार ने मिशन कर्मयोगी लॉन्च किया है, जिसे वर्तमान और भविष्य की शासन की जरूरतों को पूरा करने के लिए सिविल सेवकों की क्षमता को बढ़ाने के लिए डिजाइन किया गया है। टेक्नोलॉजी हाल के वर्षों में गेम चेंजर साबित हुई है। बहुत संक्षेप में कहें तो आपने देखा कोविड नियंत्रण का, टीकाकरण का, और ये कहते हैं एक्सपर्ट्स कि 20 से 30 का दौर जो है आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस बिल्कुल बदल देगा। तो हमारा गवर्नेंस उस रूप में कैसे इफेक्टिव हो, इसे हमें जरूर देखना चाहिए। अभी हाल में किताब में पढ़ रहा था कि शासन की चुनौतियों से निपटने में टेक्नोलॉजी की भूमिका कितनी महत्वपूर्ण है। श्री एन.के. सिंह और श्री पी.के. मिश्रा द्वारा लिखी गई पुस्तक रिकैलिब्रेट, किस तरह से यह पुस्तक स्वास्थ्य, आपदा प्रबंधन, सार्वजनिक वित्त आदि जैसे क्षेत्रों में नीति निर्माण कैसे विकसित हुई, इस पर कुछ दृष्टि, यह दिलचस्प अंतर्दृष्टि प्रदान करता है। मैं अंत में रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज के बारे में बात करके अपनी बात खत्म करूंगा। गवर्नेंस का यह महत्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र आज की तारीख में रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज भी हैं, और आवश्यकता या उदारीकरण के बाद इनकी संख्या बढ़ी है। कोविड-19 महामारी ने इन निकायों पर भी इस बारे में ध्यान खींचा है। इनके कामकाज में और अधिक सुधार की आवश्यकता है। आज गवर्नेंस इंप्लीमेंटेशन का प्रबंधन मुख्यतः रेगुलेटर्स द्वारा किया जाता है। संसद इन रेगुलेटर्स को पावर डेलीगेट करती है, पर वे उसके प्रति उत्तरदायी नहीं है। दुनिया का पब्लिक फाइनेंस विभिन्न केंद्रीय बैंकों की मौद्रिक नीतियों से तय होता है। डिजिटलकरण की बढ़ती गति को ट्राई के माध्यम से नियंत्रित किया जाता है, और हम जो खाना खाते हैं वह FSSAI द्वारा नियंत्रित होता है। यह रेगुलेटर्स लोगों के जीवन को सीधे तौर से प्रभावित करते हैं। जब हम राज्य की क्षमता को मजबूत करने पर विचार करते हैं तो इन रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज़ को अधिक अकाउंटेबल और रिस्पॉन्सिबल बनाने की आवश्यकता को हम नज़रअंदाज नहीं कर सकते। मुझे विश्वास है आईसी सेंटर फॉर गवर्नेंस भविष्य में इन प्रयासों में अपना योगदान करेगा। आपने इस महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर बोलने के लिए मुझे आमंत्रित किया, मैं बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
May I now request the Honorable Governor to deliver his keynote address.
सम्मानीय उपाध्यक्ष राज्यसभा श्री हरिवंश जी, हमारे पूर्व कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी और झारखंड के गवर्नर श्री प्रभात कुमार जी, श्री महेश कपूर जी, श्री शांति नारायण जी, देवी और सज्जनों, I must express my deep gratitude to Prabhat Kumar ji for his kind invite and giving me this opportunity to pay my profound tributes to the sacred memory of Loh Purush, who laid the foundation of a strong and united India, an achievement without parallel in our thousands-year-long history. Of the makers of modern India, he is one of the most prominent. his passionate patriotism, robust realism, fearless courage, and organizing ability were mainly responsible for the emergence of united India. It is because of Sardar Patel that we say with pride that we are Indians, citizens of the largest democracy in the world. The Sardar was a man of few words and great deeds, and it is that we have to remember. What he expected from us was to continue the task of rebuilding our nation with all dedication, devotion, and sincerity. We may look upon his life in three parts: a devoted freedom fighter, ready to make any sacrifice to liberate his motherland; a statesman who was clear in his mind that the unification of politically fragmented India must be realized at the initial stage itself. Otherwise, the country may be balkanized. And third, a competent and visionary administrator. Until we attained freedom, he was a disciplined soldier carrying out the behest of his leader, Mahatma Gandhi. Even when he differed with him, with his master, he sank his views and merely carried out the wishes of the general. He proved by example that only those who know how to obey really know how to command. The Bardoli Satyagraha, the civil disobedience movement, integration of states, they are all there standing as witnesses to the great qualities which he possessed. The greatest of all was his disciplined behavior. But even more important part of his work was as a statesman. Immediately after the achievement of freedom, in a period of just 2 years, by skillful handling, by persuasive power, he integrated over 562 states into the Indian Union, and if I remember correctly, they constituted almost 48% of Indian landmass. The great Shankaracharya, who was born in Kalari in Kerala in last millennium, is credited with making India culturally and spiritually united. This unity created common moral and ethical values, and based on them, an Indian way of life. This unity ensured the continuity of our culture, despite very adverse circumstances, and lack of political unity deprived us of the strength to protect our freedom and our way of life, our values. They faced crisis. In modern times, it was Sardar Patel who had the vision to translate the cultural and spiritual unity created by Shankaracharya into political and national solidarity. He laid the foundation of India that will have requisite strength to protect and preserve its way of life and ability to build a modern and progressive country on that foundation. What this country would have been without such integration is hard to imagine. Even after this irrevocable integration, more than 7 decades ago, we still can hear the discordant voices, divisive mindset, seeking to project communal or caste identities above the national identity and fan separatist tendencies in the name of province or region, and trying to build walls between various states of India. If we are sincere in our tribute to the memory of the great Sardar, then it is our obligation, our dharma, to exercise utmost vigilance to protect and strengthen our national unity and integrity and deal firmly with both the threats from within and without, and those who seek to vitiate and pollute our social and national life. About the achievements of Sardar Sahab, just now Harivansh ji has quoted our first president, Dr. Rajendra Prasad ji, but even those who ruled over us. The London Times, after his death, wrote a tribute in which they said, this peaceful integration of 562 princely states will stand out as a great historic achievement by Sardar Patel on a level with Bismarck, if not higher. We have therefore in Sardar Patel a great courageous freedom fighter, a wise statesman, and a model administrator. If we remember these inspiring qualities of Vallabhbhai Patel, then there is no doubt that our country will soon gain its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. Unity and strength, these are the qualities which help us to overcome any obstacles, overcome any dissonance from within and dangers from without. These are the things which we have to cultivate if we remember Sardar Patel's life. I hope all of us who have assembled here, who have read and listened to the life story of Sardar Patel, would agree that fidelity to the ideal and sensitivity to the actual was the principle that governed his life. He always acted in a manner that the principle of his action became a general rule for others to emulate. The interaction of the two, the ideal and the actual, secured emergence of united India that we see today, and more, this unity is consolidated, more strength we would acquire to realize the dreams of our freedom fighters. I am emphasizing this because now we have, as our Honorable Prime Minister has repeatedly said, we have celebrated Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and now we have entered into the Amrit Kal, where we wish to, we have this desire and this wish that when we turn 100, then the dreams of our freedom fighters who made supreme sacrifices without any hope that they will see the independence, they made all kind of sacrifices so that the dreams which they had seen can become a reality. In Indian tradition, when I think of Sardar Patel, and earlier also I had this, it was an honor for me to speak on Sardar Patel at his ashram in Bardoli, not just once, but twice. And whenever I think of him, the first time when I went there, then it took me some time to read his biographies and other material on him. And more I read about him, I listen to stories of his life, then a word comes to my mind from our ancient tradition. The word is Dheer Purush. The Dheer are men and women who cultivate the qualities of justice and compassion and are strong, stable, and peaceful with a robust sense of moral and ethical values. These qualities develop when one accepts the basic principle of divine nature of man as Atma, as outlined by Vedanta. Then a new focus of human freedom, dignity, equality, and redemption are built into their persons, waiting only to be unfolded and discovered. It is through such women and men alone does a society become just and grow to its full potential. Bhartari Hari, in his famous Niti Shatak, this is how he has described the Dheers. Nindantu niti nipun yadiva istuvantu, Lakshmi sama vistu gachatu va yatheshtam, Adya deva maranamastu va maranamastu, Yugantareva, Nyay yat pathat, Pirvi chalanti, Padam nadhira. This is how Bhartari Hari has described them. Let jurists, those who know things, let them blame or praise me. Let Lakshmi come or go away as she pleases. Let death come just now or after 100 years. The Dheers never deviate an inch from the path of Nyaya. And what is the source of this extraordinary strength of the Dheers? Is it physical power, Bahubal? No. Is it money power? Arthik bal? No. Is it intellectual power, buddhi bal? No. They are all important. But more important is what in our tradition has been described as Atm bal, Naitik bal, Yog bal, the moral or spiritual power, the common inheritance of all mankind. It is not any esoteric or magical power, but the strength of character and conviction driving from the unfolding of the divine in the heart of man. The divinity that dwells inside everybody. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. The Kena Upanishad proclaims that this Atmbal, this power, this energy, this strength is acquired through the knowledge of self, the Atma. Atmana vindate viryam. It is the knowledge of the self. Yoma pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamai pashyati. One who is able to see the self in all and all in the self. That is the source of that moral strength, spiritual strength. It is these thieves who have power and potential to take the nation on the path of power and glory. And if I use the words of Swami Vivekananda, he has described this phenomena as the manifestation of divinity that already exists in every human being. And that is because we are Indians, therefore we have a universal vision. Because our culture is not defined either by the race or faith tradition or the way we offer our devotion to the deity or the language which we speak. But our culture has been, our civilization has been defined by the Atma. Totally inclusive paradigm, which does not exclude anybody. And that is the reason why Indian culture does not view a person in terms of the variable and alienable characteristic associated with the birth. Rather, it views a person in terms of invariable and inalienable characteristic, that is Atma, the soul. It has been many a times, because this lecture is on the subject of administration. So there is a Platonic axiom that says that philosophers, the thinkers, should be the rulers. And this is very popular. They should rule the state. But our own tradition says, which is older than the Platonic thought. Our own tradition says, Atm Kriya Atmarati, Kriyavan Esha Brahma Vidam Varishta. That one who is trying to realize the Supreme Spirit, he is not supposed to go and live in the forest. He must be Kriyavan. He must live an active life. He must engage with the society. And this comes from Mundok Upanishad. Similarly, it is said elsewhere, Viveki sarvada mukta, kurvato nasti kartirta, alepa vadam ashrita, Shri Krishna Janako Yatha. That even Lord Krishna and King Janak, who was the fountainhead of wisdom, even they were not just thinkers or just meditating and reflecting on the issues, but they were people of action. So, we can say that this axiom is something which is common to all great cultures. Actually, the men of vision, the thinkers, the philosophers, they have a duty to transform that vision into reality by efforts and dedicated work. That is exactly what our Sardar did. There are politicians, I really feel slightly irritated when even in parliament I hear that please rise above party politics. This is something very important. Humanitarian or national interest is involved, as if politics in itself is a dirty job. The politicians themselves are appealing to each other. Please rise above politics. No, that is not the Indian concept of politics. The Indian concept of politics is sarve tyaga raj dharmeshu drishta. Sarve diksha raj dharmeshu yukta. Sarve vidya raj dharmeshu chokta. Sarve loka raj dharme pravishta. The Indian concept of politics is, if you want to be in public life, then our tradition tells us that it is in politics that highest forms of renunciation, one should be ready to make supreme sacrifice. Unless you have found something, a cause which you consider greater than yourself, there is no reason why you should enter into public life. And for that cause, you should be ready to make supreme sacrifice. And only when you have all sacraments you have gone through, you have tapa swadhyaya niritam, you have devoted yourself to the pursuit of knowledge. Not that anybody can acquire all the knowledge. No, but dedication to the acquisition of knowledge. And you should develop the capability to look at all people with same-sightedness, abhinnain chakshusha. Then only you become entitled to enter into public affairs and pursue what we call politics. In the context of the administration, I will say, although rightly so, governance is considered to be a complex subject. But the Indian tradition has made it so simple. All complexity is lost. According to Indian traditions, we have 4 ashrams. Brahmacharya, that is the period which you spend pursuing knowledge. Then Grihastha, then 2 others. And Grihastha is the ashram which is considered most important, because the other 3 ashrams depend totally on the Grihastha ashram. And our tradition tells us how to live Grihastha, which includes administration, which includes governance. And the tradition says, Brahma nishto, Girhastha, Syat Tattva Gyan Parayana, Yad Yat Karma Pirkirvita, Tad Brahmani Samarpayet. You have to live your practical life after Brahmacharya when you enter into practical life. And I would say this governance, not only those who are in the government as an administrator, but you may be in a private company, you may be anywhere, the quality which has to be cultivated has been described in these 2 lines. Brahma nishtho girhastha. The householder shall have his life established in the supreme truth, shall pursue the deeper truth of all things, and in all activities of life dedicate his work to the eternal being. Okay. If I am doing my work, I feel the presence of that supreme being all the time. And whatever work I do with the spirit as if I am offering devotion to the deity in which I believe. Is there any way that you will deviate from the path? Is there any way that you will step on the feet of the other person? And we should remember that another very powerful line from Upanishad that says, Saksharo vipri tatve rakshaso bhavati dhurvam. A person may be very learned, but if he lacks sense of moral and ethical values, then he runs the risk of being degenerated into a demon, into a brute. It has made so simple that if you, that does not come merely through official training. It comes through your sanskars. And the training you receive at home, training which you receive from your teachers, from the society. But that sense of moral values must guide us. And in the context of the administration, I would like to say that Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, in one of his, he has written in one of his essays that India cannot attain true independence unless it is recognized that her foundation is in mind, which with its diverse powers and confidence in those powers goes on all the time creating Swaraj for itself. India's genius is intellectual power. When the Renaissance had not really taken off in Europe, much before that, we were recognized by the world as knowledge destination. You refer to the books which were written in 10th and 11th centuries. That is the time when Renaissance had not yet started in Europe. Refer to the Arab historians. Refer to the Ibn Kasir, Tabri, Ibn Kasir, Ibn Asir, any one of them. First chapter, 9 volumes, 8 volumes, 7 volumes. And first chapter is mostly devoted to India. And what they say, the world America was not discovered by that time. So they say, there are only 5 civilizations in the world. The Persian civilization is known for its majesty, Roman for their beauty, Chinese for their craftsmanship and obedience to the rulers, Turks for their bravery, and India is the only civilization which is known for promotion of knowledge and wisdom, Gyan and Pragya. And in fact, they were not the first to say so. You must have heard. There's a line which is an Urdu poem, which says, "Mere Arab ko aayi thandi hawa jahan se." Mere Arab means Holy Prophet. So when I was a child, I read this. I thought India has been a very spiritual country. So Prophet felt some good vibes for me. So when I read the actual text, it says, "Ajidu rihal ilmi min biladil Hind." I am feeling the cool breeze of knowledge coming from land of India. That is our genius. But long period of slavery somewhere has eroded our self-confidence, has created problems for us. And unless others recognize the potential of India and Indians, we are not ready to believe it. Now, since last few years, the whole world has started talking about India. And therefore, we are also acquiring that kind of confidence. No, we were the first in the world to become knowledge destination. And what our sages, our thought leaders, our rishis had envisioned. Etad desha parshu tasya sakashad agraj anmana swam swam charitram shikcheram prithviyam sarvam anava. India, they envisioned an India where people belonging to different civilizations and culture will come to study their own culture and civilization. They will come to India, not to study Indian culture and civilization. Swam swam charitram shikcheram prithviyam sarvam anava. They will come to study. What does that mean? It means that we will have such erudite and capable teachers who will attract an Arab to come to India to study Islam. Somebody from Europe coming to study European civilization or Christianity. And we should not forget that this, even for matter, Christianity, our Christianity is 300 years older than the European Christianity. We, as Swami Vivekananda said, I have great sense of pride that I belong to a country which has sheltered all persecuted people and races in the world. We received them with open arms. When the Jews were persecuted when the temple of Solomon was destroyed, when it became difficult for the Parsis to live in their own country, and Christians came to us in the first century itself. So this is our heritage. I think if we become more familiar with our own heritage, with our own legacy, and we try to know it little more, then I am confident that most of the problems that we are facing, whether in the field of governance or other related fields, I think it will become much easier for us to overcome these problems, and that, to my mind, will be a great tribute to great Sardar Patel. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
On behalf of the India International Center and the IC Center for Governance, I have the honor of thanking the Honorable Governor for a most excellent narration on governance. Going back to our past to understand what the complicated governance is, just going to the same knowledge destination, trying to see where self is all and all is self, is what he said. Thank you very much, sir. We'll keep these words with us while solving problems and looking at governance afresh. I also thank the audience and everybody here who has come. Please stand by for the national anthem. हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गावे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे. Please join us for a cup of tea outside.